Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If anyone's blocking, please, inshallah, move your card. Jazakumullahu khairan. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد روي أن أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذكروا يوما عنده الدنيا فقال ألا تسمعون إن البذاذة من الإيمان إن البذاذة من الإيمان يعني التقحل رواه أبو داود وكما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. It's mentioned in a hadith that one time the Sahaba radiallahu anhum were talking about the dunya in front of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said twice, "Ala tasma'un, will you not listen? Ala tasma'un, will you not listen?" And the fact that he said it twice shows that he was trying to emphasize what he will say next. Then he said, "Innal badadata min al-iman." Indeed, simplicity is from iman. And he said it again twice. "Innal badadata min al-iman." Indeed, simplicity is from iman. Now, what is meant by simplicity here? The commentators mentioned that it's referring to specifically simplicity in clothing and in general your appearance. So what does that mean? Does that mean you have to have a very low level of clothing? No, that's not what it means. The ulama mentioned that it means that we should try our best not to go out of our way to have the absolute best clothing in the eyes of people. And we shouldn't always be running after people's opinion. And this is a common disease in our hearts nowadays, that we always want to have a very specific brand of clothing. And we will only wear that clothing. We will never be caught dead wearing a brand of clothing which people consider to be low class or people consider to be not the best brand of clothing. Even if it may be more comfortable, it may be better quality, but just because of that reputation, just because people think it's good, people think it's high class, high quality, we will get that other brand. So this is something that's dangerous because it means that the reason why we're actually wearing our clothing is not for our own benefit, rather it is for the sake of showing off. And this is what's being warned against in the hadith and other ahadith as well. As the Prophet ﷺ, naha an thawbi shuhra, that he prohibited from people wearing clothing for the sake of showing off and for the sake of being famous amongst people. So something we should keep in mind, that the purpose of wearing clothing is, as we know, to cover ourselves, and also there's a form of beauty in it as well, right? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يواري سوآتكم وريشا ولباس التقوى خير ذلك خير. And Allah mentions another place that خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد, that you should wear your clothing as a form of beauty in the masajid. So the clothing are there for beautifying ourselves. However, we shouldn't go out of our way to always want to wear the highest class and the best possible clothing in order to show off to people. The main thing is the element of showing off. Yes, if a person is rich, if a person has a good amount of money and they can easily buy such clothing, and also the purpose of them buying the clothing is not to show off, rather it is just for them to be comfortable and for them that they like the way this clothing looks, and that's not a problem at all. There's no problem with that. Rather, the other hadith mentions that, once the Prophet ﷺ mentioned about kibr, about arrogance, so then a sahabi asked that a person likes that their clothing be beautiful and their shoes to be beautiful. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal." Allah is beautiful and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves beauty. So again, we have to understand the point of the hadith is not that we're supposed to wear clothing that doesn't look good. Rather, we should wear clothing that looks good, but our intention, our motive behind it should not be to show off, and we shouldn't go out of our way to always have the highest class clothing. Rather, we wear normal clothing as well. And the habit of the Prophet ﷺ is that on normal days he would wear clothing that was in between, not so low that people consider to be low class and they don't even like to look at that person, but also not so high that people are always looking, oh, this person's always fresh, he's always dressed the best possible way. Rather in the middle, and then sometimes when it's special events, like for example Eid, or any special occasion that we can think of, then a person can go out of their way to wear beautiful clothing, as the Prophet ﷺ also would have special pairs of clothes that he would wear for Salatul Jumu'ah, for Salatul Eid, and for special occasions. So this is something we should keep in mind and realize that simplicity is part of Iman. We shouldn't go out of our way, especially nowadays, it's very common, that we'll even go into credit card debt just so we can fulfill the latest fashion trends and to just get specific brands, even though if you get another brand that can easily fit within your budget, that'll be perfectly fine. It might even be more comfortable, but because we have this disease in our heart that we always want to show off to people, or we don't want to be looked down upon other people, that we run after specific types of clothing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all tawfiq. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.